Yeah, love that.
Now, highways versus railway, passenger rail in particular, or both? What do you say, Rob?
Oh, look, I mean, I sit in my
Four-lane
office.
highway in particular, four-lane motorway.
Oh, look, between Napier and Hastings.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's a good infrastructure investment and probably should be supported. We will work with National to come up with a practical infrastructure investment package like that. That will be properly researched, though. It's got to be properly researched, cost-benefit analysis, not done on the campaign trail, but done by proper research, and invest where it's necessary. But we'll also ensure that, you know, once we have that, we can do more by
And a passenger rail service, maybe between Gisborne all the way down?
No.
No. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Catherine?
Oh, I think a resilient roading network drives productivity, and it's really important that we have good roads and build good roads.
So this is something the two of you agree on?
Yes, we've already committed to 13 roads of national significance.
To fund
Just
the
listen,
road.
it's my turn. And
But how will you fund it?
$1
billion
How will you fund it?
hole in your. How are you going to fund it? The Chinese.
No, it's
the Chinese. That's what you've suggested.
No, it's
Chinese investment coming in.
Okay.
It's all
Thank
being
you, Anna.
funded.
Let her
It's all
speak.
being funded, but just listen. Labor has not committed to one road, building roads. You have not got a track record. We've got potholes all over our roads. We've got the worst maintained roads we've ever seen, and we've had no new roads
Wasn't
built
transmission
in the past
gully just
6
built?
years. Yeah, but
What about
that
the
had been
Manawatu
committed.
Highway,
That had been
Catherine?
committed by
The Manawatu
National.
Highway
So
that
the
is
roads of
being
national
built.
significance.
Okay, hold on.
So Labor's quite happy to go and cut the ribbons on all of the roads of national significance that National had committed to, because Labor doesn't build roads. You know,
So
they've got
can
no track
I think
record
I can
of
Labour
building
agree.
roads.
Labour
They like to
agrees.
slow people down.
Okay.
They like to
Can
slow
I put some
people down,
context?
but
Okay.
not actually focus on
Let
building
Rob put
good
some context.
infrastructure.
Rob?
That's going to get
The
more
road maintenance
productivity.
budget is now 78% of what it was in 2012. There are 60% more staff working in NZTA offices. That is how unfocused this government spending has been, and it needs to be got right.
Is that because the roads have been bad and needed work on
No,
them?
but they're spending money on bureaucracy
they-
and lots of people in back offices down in
I think we
Wellington
should be able to
rather than
respond.
on the
I
front
think we
line
should be
and
able to
actually delivering
Let
and
me
getting
give you another
outcomes.
example. As a property valuer, I value commercial offices quite regularly, and often they're big, larger offices. When I'm looking at larger office space in Hawke's Bay, in the olden days, like only going back 5, 6, 7 years ago, you were typically looking
Olden
at
days.
private sector companies, larger accounting firms, that sort of, companies, lawyers, occupying those space. Nowadays, it's government department after government department after government department.
Yeah, in Hawke's Bay.
But that's right.
Absolutely, in Hawke's Bay.
And provincial New Zealand misses out. And
Okay.
that 4-lane expressway we'd committed to, Labor came in, got
Can
rid
I
of it.
respond to that?
And
Yes,
then
you can.
now they are suddenly committing
Okay,
to
let
a
her
road.
respond.
Now you're
Anna?
suddenly committing to the 4-lane expressway.
It was the Labor government that built the expressway, committed to that, and made sure we had the road. We bought the land on each side to be able to build it. Catherine says that we took it off the table. Lawrence Yule stood on an unfunded promise for a 4-lane expressway, and the voters didn't vote for him.
But
That's
you're
what
right.
happened.
But
then-
you did take it
but
off
you
the
didn't
table.
carry through.
we
You
have-
didn't carry through.
We are absolutely
You didn't carry
committed.
through. You're suddenly
And
it's
then
like
we
the
had
hospital.
COVID.
You're just
We
committing
had
to it
COVID.
now and
No.
saying, oh, we're going to
No,
build
we
the
had
4-lane
Catherine,
expressway
let
and
her
we're going to
finish.
build the
We had
hospital,
Okay,
which are
Catherine.
two things
And
that
sin-
we had already committed to.
Okay.
So it's just
but you
interesting
didn't fund it,
that you're
and you've
suddenly
got
saying you're going to
no
build
way,
roads, but the
no
question
way
was
of-
around
Okay,
roading
all right.
and passenger
I think you've had your say now. Respond, Karen.
So we're fully funding the 4-lane expressway. It's shovel ready and ready to go, and that will get underway. But what the difference is, we're going to fund it
You've
from
had 6
Omahu
years.
Road.
You've had 6 years to do it.
We've also
She's
dealt
right,
with
you've had
COVID.
6
We've
years.
had 6
And
years
we've
to
dealt
suddenly
with
have this
COVID.
shovel-ready project
And we've dealt with
be ready
COVID.
to go.
And we've dealt with COVID. And to
Well,
be
COVID
honest,
seems to be the
Catherine,
excuse for absolutely everything.
Right.
In the
so,
process.
No,
so
but it does.
COVID
It does.
is an
GFC was
excuse.
National's excuse
COVID
for
is
everything.
an excuse.
No, but I'm saying that
I
no.
think
I'm saying that you
is one
no,
of the
you
worst
are,
things
no, I'm
you could
saying that you
possibly
keep
say.
on saying that
COVID,
it's
no,
COVID.
I just
the bureaucracy, the regulation, the compliance, the cost, the wasteful
There is-
spending.
Bring
is
back
not-
passenger
is
rail.
not-
That is something that
is
I
not COVID.
absolutely
You
Well,
can't
tell
be
me.
blaming- you
So,
cannot
Anna,
absolutely
so
believe
you
in
believe there
I
should be a
absolutely
passenger
do.
rail From Gisborne down or from where?
I think we should be working on getting that feasibility
Totally.
study that I fought
But there's
to
so
get onto
many
the
other
Hawke's
things
Bay.
that we need to focus
Absolutely.
on
I can
for
give
our
you
region
an
in
example.
terms of building
Before you waste
roads.
your money on the feasibility
Okay.
study, I can tell you right now, it won't stack up. You go and have a look at the Hamilton to Auckland
Or
rail,
another
rail
working
network.
group. Or
That
another
doesn't even
announcement.
stack up.
We are
Why would you
OECD.
waste a whole lot
Okay.
of taxpayers'
All right.
money on
But
a
listen,
feasibility
a
study?
feasibility
I can
study
even
and
tell you it
working
doesn't work.
Okay.
I think that we've got
It's just another
we've
example
another
of
feasibility
reckless
rail. It's not,
spending
no. We
on,
need
on
to make
consultants
sure
and
that
rather.
we get it done. And I think that regional rail is something. When I've been out on the Hustings, when
Well,
I've worked,
But we
with
have to look
How-
at the
how-
focus right
One
now
at a time.
in Hawke's Bay. When we've had a cyclone, we've had our roads and our bridges
Did I
and
say it
everything
has to
wiped
happen
out.
tomorrow?
We have
No.
to look at what we really need right now.
And
And so
what
we
is-
need to focus on rebuilding our infrastructure, rebuilding our roads and our bridges, and actually
National
getting
doesn't
resilient
need it.
infrastructure,
National doesn't want
which
rail.
is that
We've
four-lane
already-
expressway.
and we're
we
already
have to look
doing
at
the
our
four-lane
focus. You know,
expressway.
it's all very well to have
So, Catherine,
ideological
I think
projects,
it's
which is
not
what Labor's very,
ideological.
very good
It
at.
actually-
Your
We're gonna
light
move on.
rail
So,
project,
Nick?
your light rail project in Auckland, which you've spent
There's a-
Okay,
$144
Catherine,
million
it's
on,
Nick's turn
but
now.
no
It's
delivery.
Nick's turn now.
Yeah.
There's a fundamental issue here where all we ever talk about is roads and driving. There's not options. Giving people an option between driving on a public road and a toll road is not giving people options. It's just telling them that they have to drive.
But Rob's point about a feasibility study, what if it doesn't stack up to our passenger rail? I'm
So-
asking Nick.
Yeah.
We know how public transport works overseas. As a nation, we've been kicking this can down the road for generations. Well, that's not even true, because prior to 2001, we had a functioning rail network. The tracks are still there. It's just that they
Well,
only
not
get used.
between Wairau and Napier, they're not.
But it
But
wasn't
we're committed-
economic
we've
then.
committed to
It
getting-
won't be
to
economic
fixing
now.
that. But you're not,
So
you're
it
not
was-
future focused.
it was
I don't
chopped
think
That
up.
is not
It was-
true
I
at
think
all.
we are very
I-
future
You're
focused,
not
that's the point.
realistic.
This was a
We're-
public. This was a
we're
public
realistic.
good that was chopped up and flogged off by neoliberal capitalists. This is what we need to do. Is 21st century OECD country, $2.2 trillion in the economy. Let's be a modern country. Let's give people options. Let's talk about getting trucks off the road so we don't have to be fixing our roads all the time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about coastal shipping. Let's talk about passenger rail so that people can get around. I think it's great, all these massive offices that Rob gets to look around during the day. But when I talk to people who are on minimum wage, who are on the living wage, who are only on the living wage because of fair pay agreements, what they want is to not have to spend $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 on a car and another $5,000 putting fuel in it and another $1,000 insuring it, when they could just get a bus for $1 or $2 between Hastings and Napier,
But
or
that's-
get on a train.
But that's
down
not
to-
what we're seeing.
Rob,
They are
please,
not
Rob,
taking the
please.
public
It's
transport that is currently there.
Just go to another OECD country. Look how it works. It's amazing. There's trains and buses everywhere, and people move around freely,
Okay.
affordably, and often for free.
How big a population in those cities? Like we just
We
don't
used
have
to
the
have a
population
What, like
to
the
support
rail service,
that
and I
has.
think it's a great
I
thing for the
I sit
future.
by a bus that drives past it every day, and we count how many people are on it. I think the maximum I've ever seen on the bus is 5 people, and frequently it's driving past with one person, the driver. It's just insane.
I-
Like,
But
I
how
think-
bad
I think
is
that
that
we-
for the environment?
So when you start a public transport service, it doesn't make money in the first year. That's a fact. We know that about public transport.
It's not new buses
It's
in
a-
Hawke's Bay.
It's a public good that gets
But I think what we
provided
need to
by
come
a
back to
government for
is-
people so that
As
they
our
can get
key
around
focuses at the
affordably.
moment and what's important and where we actually
I
genuinely
ride the
need to
bus.
spend the
I ride
money.
the bus.
And
We've
Labor's left the
committed,
cupboards
we've
bare,
fully
so
funded,
there's not
fully
much
funded
Okay.
arrear.
All right.
So we
A
have
year-
to be
a year or
pragmatic
two-
about where we're
But
spending
you haven't
hard-earned
said
A year
how
or
you
two
pay
ago,
for it.
a
You
year or
have-
two
National
ago,
has not
people,
said
there
how
weren't
they'd
many
pay
people
for
on the
it.
bus.
You
Now
want-
that the
you
bus
have
has
not
been running
said how
We
you
have
pay for it.
regularly,
everything
You haven't
fully
a year or
costed,
two-
fully
$2.1 billion.
fully
Oh,
costed.
Thank you.